I
just
didn't.
remind yourself of some of the experiences you had working in a story about sharks? Nothing
No.
that you wanted to carry over. You started fresh.
I wanted to start fresh, but obviously there's some things that are in your subconscious and you repeat them. One thing, and really we're not going to give this super long, but at all. But one thing, a lot of people might know this and some not, but we changed the ending of the movie. And so we put the movie together. We had a test screening like you have with Warner Brothers, everybody there. The screening was going great, just like this screening. People were yelling and laughing and screaming and all that stuff. And in the very end of the movie, it just went dead. And then we saw the answer cards and everybody was like very disappointed with the movie. And we were like, oh my God, what did we do wrong? We thought it was working. And then we looked closer to the cards and we realized that we had made a huge mistake. Which now, of course, in retrospect, you look at it and you think like, it's a no-brainer. I don't know, there were a lot of smart people involved, smarter than me, but somehow we were wrong. And the way the original movie ended was that actually LL Cool J dies. He gets beaten and all that, and he lies there, bleeding and everything, and he dies. And these two guys survive.
There's a myth, unless I'm mistaken, that says that in LL Cool J's acting contract, he's not allowed to die in any of his films.
That's not true because he did die.
But it's very similar what happened with in Scream. They originally were killing off Dewey at the end of the first Scream movie,
Yeah.
and people were upset. They decided to keep the character
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah, so LL Cool J dies, and she is actually the one who should. She's still in the water and she's still the bait, but she survives. She gets out, and then she's the one who shoots the shark and saves the day, and they live happily ever after. And we thought that we had this kind of despite all her shortcomings as a scientist, that there still was love for her, and that the audience would want him and her to end up together in the end of the movie. This is how stupid we were. I mean, every studio executive, every producer, writer, everybody, me included, we had no clue. And when we saw the movie, and then with the test audience, and we saw the cards, there were literally cards, supposed to, write all these fine little things there. And they were like this big letters, people just wrote there, kill the bitch. And they felt so strongly that it was all her fault, that in her hubris and ambition, and we thought, yes, but she's doing a good thing, she's doing something for humanity. But people felt like she screwed with nature, she caused it all, everybody died because of her, and she had to pay the price and she had to die. And they loved Cool J, of course, with all the funny stuff that he does. And so the Warner Brothers executives were like, they were shocked, and the release date was getting very close, and they were like, what are we gonna do? People hate this movie. And I take credit for coming up with the idea. I said, I think we can, with 1 day of reshooting or additional shooting, we can change the whole ending. And they're like, what are you gonna do? I said, we just gotta shoot one thing that shows that LL Cool J doesn't die. Then we have to just shoot, and if you look at it carefully, like when he shows up in the end, it's just blue sky and this thing, this pylon, and his hand comes there, and another hand comes, and his face shows up, and he comes there, and he does the shooting. So we just shot that bit, and then we shot the bit where he's sitting with Thomas Jane in the end, and they are joking there. And we did it, because Warner Brothers didn't have a tank, but we did it at the Universal lot where they have that big surface tank and a big sky backing there. We shot it in 1 day, just basically 2 little bits, and we were able to and then ILM did just a totally digital sequence where she's ripped apart. She doesn't survive and she's ripped apart and killed. And we did that, we literally did it in ILM took maybe 3 weeks to do the shot, and we took 1 day to shoot that, changed it, tested it again, and it went like, people were like, yeah, fantastic, we love the ending.
Can you imagine being LL Cool J getting a call, listen, everyone loved your character too much, they were all pissed off that you died, we gotta bring you back and have you be a survivor.
And imagine being her agent who tells her like, I have good news and bad news. The movie is looking really good, but you're gonna die because they hate you.
That means she did a great job. She delivered the character the way she was supposed to.
Well, looking at Deep Blue Sea after all these years, after making Deep Water, what's your takeaway from the Deep Blue Sea?
I'm going to say completely honestly, I felt that it actually has quite a good script. I felt like the story and the dialogue is good, the characters are good, there's some good jokes there, and touching moments, and I think the script is quite good. Obviously, there are a lot of things that look dated now, so the CG work with the sharks and so those kind of things, they look really dated now. That's totally me, my use of slow motion is kind of cute, because in today's world, you would never use it, except, maybe some accentuate something, some superhero movie. But a movie like this, you would never use slow motion, and it was the 90s, it was like, yeah, slow motion. So that to me felt kind of funny and cute. But I think in general, I felt like it works. It's a pretty big movie.
I thought Rappaport was great.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta tell you a secret. Because he's supposed to be the scientist who is like a mastermind engineer who's always like, we go there and the negative pressure is -5, and then you climb there and then you go down, and like he knows everything. His brain is like this computer. He had so much trouble with those lines. He could never say those lines. We took them in like little pieces. He would say little pieces of lines and then got them together. He's a great actor, but those lines were so hard. He could never get them out.
Can you just, before we wrap, the most iconic moment in this film, can you just speak to whose idea was it? Was already in the script on Samuel L. Jackson's fatality.
Okay, this sounds like I'm always taking credit for all the best. I'm like, actually, that was me. I saved the movie. But this was because we had the script, getting ready to do the movie, and then I get a call from Sam Jackson. I had just done a couple of years earlier The Long Kiss Goodnight with him, and we had such a great time together that we made a pact that we'll always make movies together. And he calls me and he's like, I hear you're doing this big shark movie, and who am I playing? I don't have anything for him. And then I'm racking my brain, like, I gotta get Sam into the movie somehow. And I tell Warner Brothers, like, I have good news and bad news. We can have Sam Jackson in the movie, but we don't have a role for him. And so I keep thinking, and then I think of one of my favorite movies, which is Alien. And I think of Alien, how Tom Skerritt was kind of like the only famous person in the movie. He was kind of a movie star. And he played the captain of the ship. And then there were a bunch of character actors around him, and then Sigourney Weaver that nobody knew. And then 1/3 into the movie or something like that, when they all shit hits the fan, Tom Skerritt, the captain of the ship, says, "Don't you worry about it. I'm just gonna go into this air duct and thing, and I'm gonna take care of it. I'll be back, and everything's gonna be safe." He goes there, he turns the light on, there's Alien, and he's done. And the audience is like, "What the hell just happened? That was Tom Skerritt. That's the only famous person in the movie. I'm gonna kill him. Who's gonna take the lead now?" And that was the whole brilliant idea that they had. That's how Sigourney Weaver a woman becomes the hero of the movie. And yeah, exactly. And so I said, we got to do that with Sam Jackson. We're going to mislead the audience into thinking that Sam Jackson, because he's the most famous person in the movie, he's the star of the movie, and we totally make the audience believe that he's this, mountain climber and hero, and he's done all these cool things, and like he's indestructible, and he's going to take care of them, and the audience is going to go with it, and then he's going to he's going to give this ridiculous hero speech. Like, there were 7 of us on that mountain, and only 5 came back. And it was scientific on the set how we were adjusting the speech. We had a longer version and a shorter version and this version, and just to get it just right so the audience starts going kind of like, but not so much that they leave and go get popcorn and get completely bored and that's like, this is bullshit. Just long enough that they start feeling like, oh, the hero speech, but not too long and not so short that they don't get into it. So we really worked on that very hard to get it just right, and Even that now, it doesn't work, it doesn't look as great as it seemed in those days because the CG is not so good. But when we did it,
Yeah.
it frigging broke the theater.
And unfortunately, he had to split.
Yes. But it was one of those moments, it was just like, and the biggest argument we had with Warner Brothers was that they said they wanted to put that moment in the trailer. And we said, you can't, yeah, but that's, you know, yeah. The marketing people insisted that they wanted to have that in the trailer. That's really gonna get them. I'm like, that's gonna destroy the whole movie. And, you know, 27 years ago, this was before social media and all this stuff. So there was really no way for people to know that that was gonna happen in the movie, as long as the critics didn't talk about it. So.
Once again, everyone give a huge cheer. Make first, tell your friends, bring the kids. It's going to be a riot. All right?
It's one Q&A. I speak, you listen. That's Q&A. But thank you so much. Thank you. It was a great time. Thank you.